Okay, so we're jumping back into where we left off. So we so far have a graph with a situation matched up. Now we're going to go ahead and match. Usually these are sets of three. There are just going to be two sets of four. But this one I'm going to go ahead and try to match up to an equation now, which is usually the third set. So we want to make sure that the equation has 60 in it, like 60 plus. Like see how there's 60 here? And the reason why is because remember we jotted down that the 60 was the midline for our function. The midline is that part in the middle. And this is again from the notes that we took. It was the midline was at 60. That's an important thing. That's usually your a, the plus a part in your function. So that's what I'm looking for. But we actually have a lot of options, the ones that start at 60. So let me just move them over here so I could see all the ones that start at 60. There's this one. What else? I don't know if there's any cards on top of other cards. No. So here's 60. Here's a 60. Let's just see if there's any others that say 60. This one. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 to kind of test out. And I think it's just those four. So these four cards, I get this out the way for me. So these are not matching up. These I'm just kind of getting out the way so I could kind of show you clearly how I'm going to try to match the equation to either of these here. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, and again, I chose these because the midline is at 60. That means this cosine function got moved up by 60 units. So we have these four possibilities that it could be. We also have this 20 right here. The 20, remember, is the height from the midline, 60, up to our max, which was 80. 60 to 80 is 20, so that's good. Now the part that's questionable now is we got to know, like, is it going to be 18t, 15t? Is it going to be minus or is it going to be plus? So here's how you use Desmos to figure that out. This is where you use Desmos. So this is kind of like a trial and error here. Or also using your knowledge about, function transformations. So I'm going to try to test out, let's say, number 5. I'm going to go ahead and write that down on a piece of paper just because when I switch over to Desmos, I'm going to forget what numbers I had. So let's test if 5 matches up to these two. So I'm going to go over to my Desmos and I'm going to go ahead and start testing. So I had 60 was A, 20 was my B, and then D was nothing, so put 0. And then C was 18, so that's good. So let's go ahead and check this out. So the card that I'm testing was 60 plus 20 cosine 18t. It looks like this. It completes a cycle after about 20 seconds. We could say that's seconds, or you could think of it as minutes, because for the card sort, I wasn't sure if it was minutes or seconds. Either way, though, it should be fine, however way you think of it. But if I look at this function and I look back at my card, right, does this function look like my card that I want to match it to, which is this one? So it starts at 40 and it goes up and then goes down. Let's go back to the Desmos. Does it do that? No. Notice how this one starts at 80. It doesn't start at 40 and then go up and go down. It kind of does the opposite. So that means it cannot be card number 5. So that's what we're doing. We're kind of trial and erroring it. So, okay, it can't be 5, so I'm going to just put that away. Now we have these 3 cards to test, 6, 2, and 8. Let's try. So I feel like this plus thing, it might not be it because it might just affect how the hump is, because I noticed when I graphed originally, the hump is like upside down rather than upwards, the maximum. So I'm going to try to test out one that doesn't have a minus 20. I'm sorry, that doesn't have a plus 20 because we tried that. So let's try number 6. Let me write down number 6 on a piece of paper. 60 minus 20 cosine, and it's going to be 15t. Okay, let's go back to Desmos. I'm going to try this one out. So my A was 60 My B was -20. See, notice how when I put the negative, the curve flipped, which is actually nice because that's almost like how our graph looked like. And then it was cosine 15. So let's check it out. It starts at 40, good, that's great. It went up to a maximum of 80, and then it came down after about 24 seconds or minutes, right? So let's see if that kind of matches up with what we had. Let's go to our card sort. It started at 40, went up to 80, and it kind of ends at around 24 seconds. See, the first cycle. So I feel like number 6 is the card to go with that one. Now, I specifically think I chose this example because I think this example, graph C, is the one that has a set of cards of 4 matched up. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and check if either of these can also work. Because I know this one has a shift of 180 degrees. I for sure think it can't be this one because the plus here is going to flip my graph. See, like, let me show you. Like, that's an easy one to show you. Number 2 is the same thing except B is plus. See, it can't be this one because it does not start at 80. We started at 40. So we can rule that one out. So nope, this one's not going to work. But, and again, I'm not matching these guys. I'm just taking them out. I just want to double check if this is not equivalent to equation number 6, because this might be a card of a set of 4 that match up. And again, there's only 2 sets of 4 in our card sort that match up, and then the rest are 3. But I'm going to check this one now. So let me write that down. At 15 team. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and go to Desmos and check if that one looks like the one we sketched. So for this one, my A was 20, my B was going to be positive, the C was 15, but then my D was 180. Now, why I think it could be this is because this gets shifted, and notice when I shift it, it does start at 40 now. So, and then it does go up to 80, and it does end again at around 24. So this graph is actually equivalent to the other graph we matched it to. This and this are the same. So this one is the one that's a set of 4, guys. This is the correct matching for card sort C, for graph C. Now you guys want to try to use a similar strategy now to match the rest of the cards. Remember, I used handy dandy sketching. I wrote down key features, and then finally to match the equations, I used Desmos to test it out. I also was checking like where does it complete one cycle, like at around 25 seconds or something like that. And again, think of it as seconds or minutes, whatever helps for you. But we have completed one example of how to do a sort.